One of the things I hear all the time is that Donald Trump is going to stay in office beyond 2028. Not going to happen. Let me explain why. All right, so lots and lots of Democrats believe that Donald Trump is effectively going to become a dictator. He's going to stay in office. He's going to change the Constitution. All of these things are going to happen, and they're going to happen quickly, and the media is not going to realize it. To which I say, probably not. So let's talk it through. Donald Trump absolutely would be interested in being president for life. He has joked any number of times about the idea of staying beyond 2 terms. He did it after he won in 2024. He was talking to House Republicans, and he said, "This will probably be my last term unless you guys decide I'm so good you need to bring me back." Anyway, this is not the first time that he's done this. Throughout his first term, Trump joked about how he would serve more time, that he could serve beyond 2 terms because he hadn't really gotten a chance to serve out his first full term because Democrats had weaponized the Justice Department against him and all those sorts of things. So yes, I see the rhetoric. I think he's joking, but only sort of joking, like, yeah, no, they're not going to do it, but if they did, I totally would stay. So I get all of those things. But I want to talk about the Constitution. And I'm not that guy who has the Constitution in his pocket and has it memorized. But I do know 2 things. There are 2 amendments to the Constitution that make it virtually impossible for this scenario to happen. So the 22nd Amendment is the one that we know the most about. It limits a president to 8 years in office, 2 terms, whether they're consecutive or, in Trump's case, non-consecutive. I have read legal scholar after legal scholar, and no, sorry, Mom, I'm not a lawyer, but I trust these legal scholars, and they essentially tell me and tell all of us it's airtight, that there is no wiggle room built into the 22nd Amendment for someone to say, well, it says 2 terms in 8 years, but I want to serve 3 terms in 12 years. No. You would need to change the Constitution. That is how it would happen. Now, you say, Chris, and I say yes, and you say, how does that happen? And I tell you, it goes like this. If you want to amend the Constitution, it is an incredibly onerous process for good reason. Amending our founding document should not be easy, but it's quite difficult to do. Here's how it would work. You need a 2/3 vote in both the House and the Senate. So 67% of the House and the Senate would have to vote to change the Constitution. And remember what we're talking about when we say change the Constitution in this context. We're talking about changing the Constitution to allow Donald Trump to stay in office beyond 8 years. 0 Democrats are going to vote for that. So you're not going to get a 2/3 majority, even if every Republican voted for it. And even if you did, it would then go to the states where 3/4 of the state legislatures, 3/4, would have to ratify it. And folks, that's just not going to happen. There's just no way in the current composition of Congress, even if you say, okay, every Republican would vote to keep Trump in office, it just won't happen. That's not 2/3 majorities. It's certainly not 3 out of 4 state legislatures in this country. Okay, so that's 22nd Amendment. And remember, I said there were 2 amendments. This is like a constitution. It's like a con law class here. There are 2 amendments that I want to talk about. So the other scenario I hear from people is, oh, so what? What does Trump care about the Constitution? He'll just stay in office, and who's going to kick him out? Well, the Constitution deals with that too. So the 20th Amendment, and yes, I had to look these things up. I don't have them memorized. The 20th Amendment says that on January 6th of the year after the election year, at noon, a president's term ends and a new term for a new president begins. So let's just say, hypothetically, Donald Trump stayed in office. He refused to leave at the end of 2028, and it's January 20th at 12:01 p.m. In Washington. Well, a new president will have been sworn in, whether it's J.D. Vance or Gretchen Whitmer or Gavin Newsom or someone we haven't even heard about who comes out of nowhere and wins the presidency. The point is, a new president will be in office. And at that point, that president controls the military and can say, hey, there's a guy in the White House. He won't leave. I need you to remove him. Now, if it got to that, that's how it would happen. So I guess you could say, well, J.D. Vance isn't going to tell Donald Trump to be removed from office. Isn't he? Because doesn't J.D. Vance want to be president? My point is, there are a lot of constitutional barriers here that are not debatable. It's not unclear language about how any of this stuff works. And while I agree with people who say, well, Donald Trump, he's not a big respecter of the law, I get that. But the Constitution is the Constitution. The way to amend the Constitution is very clear and, as I said, extremely difficult to do. So I get why people worry. I understand all of those things, but I will tell you, I think people who do this do a disservice to democracy and the Constitution when they argue that just like that, Donald Trump will just stay in office. It's just not that easy. In fact, it's incredibly difficult, and I would be stunned if he was able to do it. The thing, could he have worked out a deal with the military where they won't respect the next president and they'll only listen to Donald Trump? Sure, but doesn't that sound more like a Netflix show that I would totally watch than actual reality? Yes, it does. I'll answer my own question. All right, that's it for me today. As always, I ask you to do 4 things. I ask you to subscribe. We are nearly to 50,000 subscribers. So we're less than 2,000 away. We are marching toward 50,000. I need your help. Subscribe. It's easy and it's free. Number 2, like this video. Just give it the old thumbs up. It's easy. Hit the thumbs up button. Number 3, comment on this video. Do it for the algorithm. YouTube algorithm. Do it for the algorithm. And number 4, tell 10 friends about this channel. Have a wonderful day. Everybody take care, and I will be back tomorrow.